Hello guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Hello to all the cyber enthusiasts. Welcome to my channel. Uh, saying it too much. Okay, so let's get started. Today I'm going to talk about the CISSP domain 1, which talks about security and risk management. And I'm going to deep dive into the CISSP, which is basically the Certified Information Systems Security Professional Certification. In this video, I'm kicking off my CISSP series with the focus on domain 1, which is security and risk management, for today's video. Now CISSP, don't forget, it is administered by ISC Square, which is one of the most prestigious institutes for certifications in the cybersecurity field. Domain 1 lays the foundation by addressing critical concepts related to the cybersecurity governance, risk management and compliance. So whether you are a professional who has been in this industry for a long time or you're just starting your cybersecurity journey, understanding this domain is the key to mastering the CISSP exam. But before we get started, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and stay tuned for more in-depth CISSP content. And not just that, I talk all things tech over here. Now let's jump right into the domain 1, security and risk management. And trust me, this is going to be one of the most useful videos for you guys if you guys have a cybersecurity exam coming, have an interview coming, or you just want to get started. Trust me, this is going to be one of the best videos we're going to ever come across. Okay, so just a quick disclaimer, I don't know when you guys are watching this video, so in case it's been long and you're into it 2030, don't forget to check the official website for ISC Square CISSP exam outline, and refer to their latest exam content that may be updated or something like that. ISC stands for International Information Security Certification Consortium. It is the organization that administers the CISSP certification, in case you guys did not know. And just a quick introduction about myself. I don't want to waste time over here, but hi, I am Tanya Khanna, and today I'm gonna take you to this journey of CISSP domain 1. Quick introduction to the CIA triad. That is how the domain 1 begins. Basically, in CIA triad, we define and apply the principle of confidentiality, integrity and availability. That is what CIA triad stands for, and it is very important to understand the CIA triad to balance these principles and achieve overall security goals for your organization. Now, talking about confidentiality, that is preserving authorized restrictions on information access and disclosure. Now, what does this mean? This means that protecting personal privacy and proprietary information. This also talks about encryption at transit, TLS, at rest, AES for 256-bit. I'll come to that in a minute to explain more about it in case you guys are interested. Integrity is basically guarding, that is the second point of CIA triad, I. Okay, I stands for integrity. So integrity is basically guarding against improper information modification or destruction, and includes ensuring information non-repudiation and authenticity. Now I'm just going to take a minute over here and I'm going to check if there is some issue or anything, and if everything is going live properly. Just give me one quick second. Okay, good to go. Okay, thank you so much for waiting. Now, we just discussed integrity. Coming to A part of CIA, that talks about availability, that ensures timely and reliable access to and use of information by authorized users. Now the term authorized users is very important, okay, you have to keep that in mind. Coming back to encryption at transit, that is TLS. Now TLS stands for transport layer security. Again, maybe you want to repeat with me, what is TLS? TLS is transport layer security. What it does is encryption at transit involves securing data as it travels over a network such as internet or an internal network. And TLS, which is transport layer security, is a cryptographic protocol that ensures privacy between communicating applications and the user on the internet. Okay, now that is TLS, encryption at transit, for you guys. Coming to encryption at rest, which is AES 256, like I have mentioned over here. So AES 256 stands for Advanced Encryption Standard with a 256-bit key. What does it do? AES 256-bit key is a widely adopted symmetric encryption. Now, there are many kinds of encryption, asymmetric, symmetric, and 256 is a symmetric encryption algorithm that is used for encrypting data at rest. It uses a 256-bit key to encrypt and decrypt data, providing a high level of security and resistance to brute force attacks for all the data which is at rest of your organization. Okay, so I think this explains the introduction to CIA triad, and we have also dived in a little bit for the encryption part. In case you guys have any questions, don't forget to reach out to me or write a comment, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Next is concepts of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Now, CIA triad is a foundational concept in information security overall that represents the three core principles or goals that are essential for the protection of information assets. The three components of the CIA triad are confidentiality, integrity, and availability, just like we have understood. Okay, and so we have also discussed the definitions in the previous slide, but just in case we can go through again. So confidentiality ensures information accessible only to those who have authorized permissions, okay, that protects the information from unauthorized access, disclosure, or exposure. We'll come to these terms of disclosure, exposure in a minute. Integrity talks about ensuring that information is accurate, it has not been tampered with, which prevents unauthorized modification, alteration, or destruction of data, ensuring that it remains trustworthy for the person who is looking at it. Okay, because you never know what data is right or what data is wrong. Now, coming to availability, availability ensures that information and resources are accessible and usable when needed. So ensuring that unauthorized users can access information, ensuring that unauthorized users cannot access information and resources, is a major lock, you can say, of availability. Now, additional aspects of these information security may be authenticity, non-repetition, accountability. Okay, to just quickly understand what authenticity is, it is basically verifying the identity of entities that are involved in communication or transactions. Non-repetition is ensuring that a party cannot deny the authenticity of signature or the origin of message. Okay, and accountability is determining who is responsible for specific actions or events in a system. These extensions enhance the overall security posture by addressing additional dimensions beyond the basic CIA triad principle. I hope that clears a bit, and in case you guys have any doubt, please let me know. Okay, coming to the CIA best practices. CIA best practices include separation of duties, mandatory vacations for employee, job rotation, least privilege, need to know, dual control so that there cannot be misuse of a single employee controlling everything. This is just a basic thing to get started. Okay, common definitions include I told you we'll come to disclosure and everything in a minute. So disclosure is basically opposite of confidentiality, which saying we are disclosing something. Alteration is opposite of integrity, which means that we are changing some text. Destruction is opposite of availability. Something is available to us, but destruction is basically that we are making something, destroying it, and not available to people for use at general. Okay, availability measuring metrics. Now, what are availability measuring metrics? You might want to know. Before explaining this to you, I'll just take 1 minute. Okay. 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 So there are many availability measuring metrics that are, used in an organization, and some of them I'm going to discuss today, such as recovery time objective, which represents the maximum acceptable downtime for a system or a service after a failure occurs. It is the target time within a system should be restored or operational after a disruption. Okay. Now, maximum tolerable downtime is MTD. MTD is the maximum amount of time that a system or a service can be unavailable before causing significant harm to the organization. It also helps in determining the acceptable duration of downtime based on the criticality of business functions supported by the system. Okay, coming to RPO, which is recovery point objective, which is the maximum acceptable data loss that an organization is willing to tolerate in an event of disruption. Next is MTBF, which is mean time between failures, which is the average time between the occurrence of failures in a system. It measures the reliability of a system, and it provides the estimate of how long it can operate between the two failures. Next is service level agreement, commonly known as SLA. SLA is basically contractual agreement that defines the expected level of service, including availability, that a service provider commits to delivering its customers. Okay, now coming to the next slide. Okay, next is organization plans. Organization plans are basically a typical plan that organization prepares in advance, and it can be broadly of three categories: strategic, tactical, and operational plan. Now, strategic plans can be up to the 5 years of how an organization perceives itself. For example, risk assessment plans, the overall, the company's revenue growth plans. Tactical plan can be maximum of 1 year, which includes project budgets, staffing, etc. Operational plans are those of a few months, which can be, for example, patching computers, updating signatures, daily network administration tasks, and stuff like that. So, this is a basic overall gist of what organization plans are. Next is evaluating and applying security governance principle. Now, if you are running an organization, then there are certain security governance principles that you must follow. Okay, that depends on the land you are working on, region you are working on, the companies you are catering to, or basically the domain, the industry you're working in, or the kind of customers you want. If you want high end customers, then it is imperative that your organization follows some security governance such as COBIT, COSO, ISO. Okay, there are so many. This is just to list a few. Now, it's very important to establish and maintain information security policies and their supporting processes according to your organization's requirements. Okay, so in case you are into healthcare firm, your organization must comply with HIPAA. Okay, that is just an example, of course. Next slide is determining what are the compliance requirements of your organization. To understand and apply compliance requirements that are relevant to your organization, you must understand the five parameters of cybersecurity, that are identification, authentication, authorization, accountability, and auditing. What is identification? Identification is basically identifying a unique user. Okay, authentication is validation of that identity, that the person is exactly who he says he is. Okay, verifying the person who he says he is. Authorization is verification of privileges and permissions for authenticated users, that what kind of privileges you have. Of course, a security guard will not have a privilege of CEO, and a CEO cannot have access to attendance of a small kitchen worker or a mess worker for that matter. So there are different levels of privileges for different people. Accountability: only authorized users are accessing and use the system according to what their accountability is, what their level of what do you say clearances. Auditing is basically tools, processes, and activities used to achieve and maintain compliance. Okay, common levels of data classification are data can be classified in so many ways. We have to first analyze the data that an organization is retaining, and after analyzing we have to determine what is the importance and the value of that data. After understanding the importance and the value of data, we have to assign it to a category. Okay, now this is the category that I am talking about over here in common levels of data classification, which is public, internal use, confidential, and restricted or classified. Public is basically information that is intended for public disclosure. It has a least sensitive value and can be freely shared with most of the people. Okay, example: marketing material, press releases, or some balance sheet of publicly trading company or stuff like that, I think. Okay, so internal use. So if a data is classified as public, then we just understood what will happen. If a data is classified as internal use, then information meant for internal use within the organization is not intended for public disclosure. Example: internal memos, company policies, etc. The third point is confidentiality. Okay, if a data is classified as confidential, it is sensitive information that requires a high level of protection. Unauthorized access could result in harm to the individual or the overall organization. Example: employee records, financial data. The fourth is restricted or classified data, that is highly sensitive information that requires the strictest controls. Unauthorized access could cause severe damage to individuals or the organization. Example: national security information, trade secrets, or intellectual property secrets, and stuff like that. Okay, so coming to the next part, it is data classification process. We have to we just learned about what are the types of data. Now this is how to classify the data. Okay, so first we have to identify the types of data that exist within an organization. Then we have to assign labels or tags to data based on classification level. Third is handling. Define how data at each classification level should be handled, accessed, stored, and transmitted. Okay, then storage and access controls, that is implement appropriate security controls based on the classification level, such as encryption, access controls, and authentication. Monitoring and review is regularly reviewing and monitoring of data to ensure the alignment with changing business needs and regulatory requirements. I hope I am very clear up till now, but in case you guys have any doubt, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll just a quick break and we'll go to the next slide. Okay, coming to key security tasks that are there for an organization. Okay, so what are the key security tasks that an organization does? It organizes the data according to the risk associated with it. It ensures that the data is protected according to the compliance laws of the industry or the region. Then it allocates the resources based on the importance and sensitivity of different types of data. And the fourth and the most crucial point is incident response, which is aiding in responding, my bad, to security incidents by prioritizing and protection of the most critical data. Okay. Next is data protection mechanism, which is understanding and applying compliance requirements that are relevant to the organization. Now, the mechanisms can be encryption, access control, authentication, or backup and recovery, masking, DLP, or firewalls, awareness trainings, audit trails, and secure coding practice. Now, coming to encryption, well, I already talked about encryption is basically transforming the data into a secure format using algorithms, cryptographic keys, making it unreadable without the appropriate or the relevant decryption key. Second, it is used to protect data during transmissions, at rest, at storage, okay, as we discussed earlier during the first 2 3 slides. Next is access control. Access control basically restricts and manages user access to data based on their roles, responsibilities, and principles of least privilege. Okay, that as we already discussed. Okay, I'm not gonna repeat it because it's gonna take a lot of time. Okay, access control also includes user authentication, authorization, and auditing to ensure that only authorized users can access specific data that they are authorized to use. Now, authentication is basically authentication verifies the identity of user or system before granting access to data or resources. It involves methods like password, MFA, biometrics, smart cards, and stuff like that. Okay, the second slide that we are talking about on data protection mechanism also talks about backup recovery, data masking and anonymization, and DLP, that is data loss prevention. Coming to backup and recovery is regularly backing up data and having a robust recovery procedure in place to restore the information in case of a data loss or a system failure, which is quite common considering that at the end of the day these are just circuits, and in case even a small fluctuation in the electricity can fry a small chip and lead to data losses. Now, backup and recovery also protects against accidental deletion of important information, hardware failures, and malicious attacks. Okay, now coming to data masking. Data masking replaces sensitive information with fictitious or anonymized data to protect the original data with maintaining usability. Useful for testing environments or scenarios where real data is not required. DLP is a solution to monitor, detect, and prevent unauthorized data transfers or disclosures by enforcing security policies. It helps to prevent the accidental or intentional leakage of sensitive information. I hope I am being very clear. In case you guys have any doubt, please don't sorry, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Okay. Okay, we are not even halfway there. I thought in 30 minutes we'll complete it, but nevertheless. Data protection mechanism is basically the last slide of this. It talks about firewalls and intrusion prevention systems, which basically monitor the network traffic to prevent unauthorized access and protect against cyber threats. Security awareness training is training program to educate the users on the best practice. Audit trails and logging is basically capturing and logging events and activities to create an audit trail for monitoring and investing purposes. Basically looking at security incidents. It facilitates forensic analysis and compliance with regulatory requirements. Secure coding practices are very much important, and they should be incorporating security measures into the software development process to prevent vulnerabilities and protect against exploitation. Okay, with this, we complete data protection mechanisms of CISSP domain 1. Okay, next is data layering. This is a very interesting topic called as data layering. Okay, this is also known as data tiering. It is basically a strategy in data management and storage architecture where data is organized and stored in different layers based on its characteristics, usage patterns, access requirements. This approach allows the organization to optimize storage resources, improve performance, and enhance overall data management efficiency. The concept of data layering is often applied to large data sets, particularly in context of data storage and retrieval. So the data is classified as hot, warm, or cold data. Hot data frequently refers to frequently accessed or critical data that requires fast access times. Warm data represents data that is accessed less frequently than hot data but is still relevant and may be needed periodically from time to time. Cold data includes archival or rarely accessed data that is retained for compliance or historical or backup purposes. I hope this clears a few things for you. Okay, data layering, we just read the three tiers: hot, warm, and cold. Okay, now we are understanding what are the high performance tiers, what are mid performance tiers, and what are the low performance tiers. Basically, high performance tiers require high speed expensive storage solutions like SSDs, which are solid state drives that enable fast access to data. They are typically much more expensive. Now, coming to mid performance, they utilize less expensive storage solutions like hard disk, HDDs, with slower access time compared to hot storage. And the third one is low performance tiers, which involves or includes the use of least expensive storage solutions such as tape archives or cloud based long term storage suitable for data that is not accessed so frequently. Okay, this is the cheapest solution of the three storages. Okay, so basically, if you're talking about optimizing cost for data layer, so hot storage is the most expensive one, and it is reserved for the most critical and frequently accessed data. The least expensive is the storage used for less critical and less access data, and you can store your data depending on your company's budget accordingly. Understanding the legal and the required regulatory issues pertaining to the infosec community and world, and the overall global context. Okay, so there are basically laws, regulations, rules, and standards that govern these things. To name a few laws, we have criminal law, civil law, computer fraud and abuse act, computer security act, federal information security management act. Okay, and it is very important to understand and adhere to these ethical codes of conduct and recognize and navigate legal issues that are related to information security, such as data protection laws. Okay, then there are also another category of laws called as intellectual property, which deal with copyright claims, trademarks, patents, trade secrets, and licensing. They are very important but mostly covered with legal team, as far as what I understand. Okay, understanding and adhering to promote professional ethics that are promoted by ISC Square Code of Professional Ethics. One must understand them and promote an ethical security culture within the organization. Okay, so next is development, documenting, and implementing security policies, standards, and procedures. So, one is adhering to standards and guidelines, and one is developing and maintaining internal information security policies related to your own organization. That is very important to set a guideline of your own organization's policies. Okay, basically it's a top down approach. It has to come from senior management, and it is very important to communicate this to the entire employee or the organization fraternity to promote awareness and security policies within your own organization or firm. Okay, this is a very, very important topic coming to understanding business continuity requirements, which is disaster recovery or business continuity plan. It talks about developing and implementing business continuity and discuss disaster recovery plans, understanding the importance of business continuity and the roles of information security. It talks about continuity plans, statement of importance, statement of priority, statement of organization, statement of urgency and timing, and risk assessment and mitigation. Okay, coming to the next one. Just one second. Thank you so much for your patience. Okay. Um, okay. Coming to the next slide. Understand and apply risk management concepts. What are the risk management concepts? Risk management concepts are basically solutions that keep risk at a tolerable and acceptable level. Okay, what is risk management? Risk management is basically understanding that there is no risk that can be completely avoided. Risk can be minimized, controlled to avoid impact of damages. Risk management. Okay.
वीडियो रिकॉर्ड हो रही है पॉज हो गई
लाइव है
तो अभी ऑफ कर रहा
नहीं
यूट्यूब लाइव कर रही है ऐसे कैसे इधर देख रही है
स्मेल आ रही है
ठीक है मैं नीचे जा रहा हूँ
अच्छा ठीक है okay okay, so talking about risk management, no risk can be completely avoided. Risk can be minimized, controlled, or to avoid the impact of damages. Okay, the solution is to keep risk at a tolerable and acceptable level. Risk management constraints are some of the risk need to be curtailed in the given time, and to curtail these risks it is important to have a budget in the organization. Okay, understanding and applying risk management concepts. Okay, what we'll do is we'll take a quick break of 10 minutes and rejoin this link to understand the rest of the CISP domain 1. And I want to thank you guys for watching up till now and being here. Thank you so much.